Adherence is always a challenge with patients, but it's even more of a challenge with patients who are on specialty medications because they have a lot going on. If they're on a specialty medication, they tend to be sicker, than somebody who's on a primary care medication. And with patients who are sicker, they just have more on their plates. So they're going to more doctors, they're going to sometimes several specialists. They're almost always on multiple medications as well. And so when you get into that polypharma, when you're getting into that area where they're on multiple medications, then you have multiple co-payments, co-insurance, the cost share is higher for patients. And then you also have the problem with maybe pre-screenings, testing, ongoing lab work that needs to be done. And so all of those add up in addition to just the medications themselves. At Sonexus, we always say that we have to meet the patients where they are. And what that means to us is looking at each individual patient and try to tailor the experience to that patient. So that can be anything from the cadence of the communications. So one patient may want to be contacted just once a week and only on a certain day of the week. Another patient may say, I really would like to have more frequent engagement and would like to be communicated with every day. So another thing is the type of information that we're sending to patients. Some patients want information maybe on diet or exercise, wellness types of messaging. Other patients are very focused on the finances around their medication and their co-payments, what's going on with their payer. Is the payer covering the medication? How long is that coverage? Other patients may want information on appointment reminders. So it really just depends on the patient and what that patient's needs are, and that's why we try to meet the patients where they are. Yeah, it's always interesting when we think about patients and accessing medication, and we do tend to focus on that first fill. And quite often after that happens, we pat ourselves on the back and we say, oh, look at that, we figured it all out, now we can, move on and help the next patient. But that's really a mistake to only focus on the first fill. We need to focus on that entire, journey of that medication journey for that particular patient. So, depending on their insurance, they could need a reauthorization at 3 months or 6 months or a year. So we need to stay on top of that and make sure the reauthorizations happen. There's always what we call the annual re-verification time that happens in January every year. So when people have open season towards the end of the calendar year and people choose a new insurance plan, then that quite often will mean that they need to use a new pharmacy in the next year. So we need to support the patients through that to make sure that they don't have an interruption in therapy. Also, people tend to we're humans and we take something for a while and we think, oh, well, I've been taking it for 6 months. Do I really need to keep taking this medication? And so part of it is just that, good old motivational interviewing and helping the patients understand why they're taking the medication and so that they have some buy-in so they continue to remain compliant. When it comes to selecting a hub partner, one of the most important considerations is whether or not that partner has the internal expertise to maintain a compliant program. So when we talk about compliance, that's both looking at the legalities, making sure that the hub partner is up on recent OIG findings, knows how to protect the patient identifiable information. It can be making sure that they know about the different state regulations that are out there. So certainly compliance is a big part of it. Another key factor to look at is whether or not that hub partner is truly patient-centric. What are they doing to ensure that the patient is always first and foremost when they're developing their strategies and when they're developing their protocols. And then the last thing, or one of the last things to look at, is the track record. Do they have a proven track record working with the type of program that the manufacturer is looking for, both in the size of the program, the different offerings, and is the timing correct for that particular hub provider?